The planet of Virelia was known across the galaxy as a world of danger. Its skies were thick with green clouds that glowed faintly at night, and its jagged mountains cut sharp lines across the horizon. Predatory creatures roamed the valleys, and storms of strange energy could strike without warning. No alien diplomat would dare set foot on this planet without a heavily armed escort. Yet here was the alien queen, Kalara, moving quietly through the rocky cliffs, her guards only a few steps behind. Kalara was a tall, elegant figure. Her skin shimmered like polished bronze, and her eyes glowed with a soft violet light, a sign of her royal bloodline. She had faced dangers before, but this mission was different. Intelligence reports had confirmed that rebels from the neighboring system of Tyros were planning an ambush, aiming to capture or even kill her. She did not expect them to strike this quickly. The attack came suddenly. From a narrow canyon, shadowy figures leaped forward armed with plasma rifles and energy blades. Kalara's guards fired back, but they were outnumbered. The queen felt a surge of fear she had not experienced in years. One rebel lunged at her, and her reflexes alone were not enough. Then, without warning, a human appeared. He moved with surprising speed and precision. His weapon was primitive compared to the advanced alien tech around him, a simple plasma pistol. Yet he used it cleverly. He dodged attacks, feinted, and struck with accuracy that no one could anticipate. The queen watched as he engaged the rebels, cutting a path directly toward her. He was not part of her guard. She realized then that he was alone yet fearless. He did not hesitate. Even when one of the rebels swung a sharp blade at him, the human twisted, grabbed the attacker's arm, and used the momentum to throw him into the canyon wall. "Your Highness, move," he shouted in perfect common language, motioning toward a safer path. Kalara did not question him. She only knew she had to trust this stranger. She followed, sprinting across loose rocks and jagged terrain. Behind them, the rebels advanced, but the human used the terrain to his advantage, leading them into narrow passes where their numbers were useless. Eventually, they reached a hidden cave. It was small, dark, and damp, but safe for the moment. The human blocked the entrance with a large rock, panting slightly, yet his eyes remained sharp. "You're safe, for now," he said. His voice was calm, steady, yet carried a hint of fatigue. Kalara stared at him, curiosity and caution mixing in her mind. "Who are you? Why are you helping me?" He shrugged. "Call me Joran, I travel the stars. I don't owe your kingdom anything, but I don't stand by while people die unfairly." Kalara raised an eyebrow. In her experience, few beings acted without personal gain in mind, yet here was a human who risked his life for her. A queen of a powerful empire. She studied him closely. He was average in height, with sun-tanned skin and strong muscles shaped by constant physical activity. His dark hair was slightly messy, and his eyes were sharp, intelligent, and kind. "You are brave," she said finally, "and foolish. The rebels are many, and you are alone," he smiled faintly. "Maybe. But bravery is often the choice when you have no other option." The cave was quiet now except for their breathing. Outside, the sounds of pursuit were muffled by the rocks. Joran set down a small device that projected a soft light, illuminating the cave's interior. Kalara looked around. "We cannot stay here long," she said. "They will find us." Joran nodded. "I know, I have a plan. But first—" He paused, studying her face. "We need to rest for a few hours." "You are exhausted." Kalara hesitated. Royal protocol demanded she appear strong at all times, even in danger. Yet something in Joran's presence made her feel safe in a way she had not felt before. She allowed herself to sit, watching him move efficiently around the cave, checking the entrance and preparing for any attack. As hours passed, Kalara found herself listening to Joran speak of his travels. He had visited dozens of worlds, some peaceful, some torn by war. Yet he always sought to help those in need, even when it meant risking his own life. Kalara was fascinated. Humans, she realized, were unpredictable. Their strength did not only come from technology or physical ability, but from cleverness, adaptability, and courage. Night fell, and the green glow of Virelia's skies filtered into the cave. Joran lit a small fire using minerals found in the rocks, the light dancing on the walls. Kalara felt a strange warmth in the presence of this human. She had spent centuries surrounded by advisors, generals, and guards, yet none of them had made her feel this alive. "Why do you help strangers?" she asked quietly. Joran shrugged, tossing a small rock into the fire. Because sometimes helping others is the right thing to do. Not for glory, not for reward, just because it matters. Kaylara considered this. In her world, actions were measured by gain, loyalty, or duty. Humans were different. The night grew deeper and exhaustion overcame her. Joran prepared a small area for her to rest, using a blanket he carried with him. Sleep now. You will need your strength. She lay down, studying his profile in the firelight. You are strange, but I trust you, she said softly. He looked at her, surprised. Strange? That is the first time anyone has called me that. He smiled, a gentle warmth in his expression. Trust is earned, Your Highness. She nodded, then closed her eyes. The sound of his steady breathing next to her and the quiet crackle of the fire lulled her into a light sleep. Hours passed, and the night deepened. The cave was safe, and for the first time in years, Kaylara felt a moment of peace. She did not know what tomorrow would bring, nor did she know if the human would stay by her side. Yet in this brief, stolen night, she felt something she had almost forgotten: hope. At dawn, Joran stirred. We must leave soon, he whispered. I know a route that can take us out of here safely. Kaylara rose and stretched, feeling the stiffness of a body unused to rest. You could have stayed. You could have asked for a reward, or... Joran shook his head. I don't do this for rewards. You are alive. That is enough. They moved quietly through the rocky terrain, the human leading the way. The rebels were still searching, but Joran's knowledge of the land and clever tactics kept them safe. He guided her across narrow ledges, through hidden tunnels, and past dangerous wildlife. Kaylara watched him, increasingly aware of how remarkable humans could be. Eventually, they reached a safe point where a ship from her kingdom could retrieve her. Joran stopped and looked at her, his expression unreadable. This is where I leave you, he said simply. Kaylara felt a pang of surprise. Why? Why disappear after everything? Joran smiled faintly, his eyes distant. Because I have my own path. One I must follow alone. But remember, never underestimate humans. We are small, fragile, and mortal, yet we are capable of extraordinary things. Before she could respond, he turned and vanished into the terrain, as suddenly as he had appeared. Kaylara watched until he was out of sight. The queen had been saved, yes, but she was left with more questions than answers. Who was this human? Why did he choose to act so selflessly? And most importantly, would she ever see him again? As her ship ascended into Virelia's turbulent skies, she looked down at the planet and whispered, I will find you, human. Wherever you are, I will find you. And with that, the alien queen, ruler of a mighty empire, carried a memory of a human's courage and kindness that would shape her thoughts for years to come. "5 years had passed since that fateful night on Virelia. The alien queen, Kaylara, now ruled her empire with wisdom and strength. Her people admired her for her courage, her diplomacy, and the sharp mind that had prevented countless conflicts. Yet, in the quiet moments of her day, she often thought of the human who had saved her life. He had appeared suddenly in a canyon, fearless and determined, a stranger who had risked everything to protect her. She remembered the way he moved, the calm in his eyes even under threat, and the strange warmth she had felt that night in the cave. That single night had left a mark on her, one that no political achievement or victory could erase. Kaylara walked through her palace gardens, a place of calm beauty among the grand towers of her world. Exotic flowers bloomed under violet skies, and streams of glowing water wound between marble bridges. But even this beauty could not erase the memory of that human. She stopped by a fountain, staring at the reflection of her violet eyes in the water. "I wonder where he is," she whispered to herself. "Does he still roam the stars? Does he even remember me?" Her advisors, noticing her distraction, exchanged worried glances. Kelara's reputation had always been of a focused and decisive leader, but now she often lingered over reports or absent-mindedly studied maps of the galaxy. "Your Highness," said one advisor, a tall figure with silver scales and a long, elegant tail, "you have a council meeting soon. Perhaps you should prepare." Kelara nodded politely, but her mind was elsewhere. "Yes, I will join shortly," she said softly. She spent the next hours going over reports, yet her thoughts kept returning to the human. She remembered his voice, calm and confident. She remembered how he had looked at her with a mixture of respect and determination, and she remembered the way he had disappeared at dawn, leaving no trace behind. Stories of his deeds had begun to reach her ears, even across the galaxy. Refugees, merchants, and travelers whispered of a human who appeared in desperate situations, helping the helpless and vanishing before anyone could learn his identity. Some claimed he had saved entire colonies from disaster. Others said he had outsmarted pirates and warlords with little more than courage and cleverness. Kelara listened to these rumors with growing curiosity. She realized that humans, though small and fragile compared to many alien species, had qualities that others could not match. They were resourceful, clever, and brave. They acted on instinct, on morality, and on an inner strength that often surprised even the most experienced alien leaders. That afternoon, she summoned her private security and began preparations for a journey few in her empire would dare to take. She would leave her palace, her advisors, and even part of her royal protection behind. She would search for the human herself. "I will not wait any longer," she said firmly. "I must find him. He changed my life, and I need to understand why humans are different." Her advisors hesitated. "Your Highness, the galaxy is vast. This mission could be dangerous, and the human may not want to be found." Kelara's violet eyes gleamed with determination. "Then I will go. If humans value freedom and choice, perhaps he will choose to meet me. But I must try." The next weeks were filled with preparation. Kelara traveled incognito, using advanced stealth technology to hide her royal identity. She visited trade hubs, refugee colonies, and distant spaceports, searching for any clue of the human's path. Each day, she grew more impressed with the humans she encountered. They were small, yet capable of acts that defied logic and expectation. They solved problems in ways no alien race could, and they acted with courage even when the odds were against them. One evening, she arrived at a crowded spaceport in a neutral system. Merchants sold exotic goods, travelers hurried between ships, and rumors buzzed in every corner. Kelara asked quietly about a human matching the description she remembered. A man who traveled alone, brave and selfless. A merchant, an alien with tentacles and bright yellow eyes, leaned closer. "I may have heard of him. A human who helped a colony last year driving off pirates. They say he vanished before anyone could thank him properly." Kelara's heart quickened. "Where?" she asked. The merchant hesitated, then whispered, "He headed to the outer rim, near the Tyros border. Dangerous territory, they say, but he went there to help people. That is all I know." Kelara nodded, feeling a mix of excitement and concern. She had found her first lead. Humans valued freedom and independence, and this human had followed his path without expectation of reward. But she understood why he had left her so abruptly. Perhaps he believed in helping others first and keeping his own life separate. The following days were tense and exhausting. Kelara and her small team moved quickly from system to system, following every hint and rumor. Each time she thought she was close, the trail went cold. The human was clever, careful, and cautious. He avoided attention, yet his actions left a mark on the people he helped. Every life saved, every colony protected became a clue to his presence. Along the way, Kelara saw the impact humans had on the galaxy. Refugees told stories of humans arriving to defend settlements, using not just weapons but clever traps and clever strategies to outsmart stronger foes. Merchants spoke of humans negotiating peace between warring planets. Even alien soldiers admitted to being impressed by the unpredictability and courage of humans. Kelara realized then that the human she sought was part of something larger. Humans themselves were an unstoppable force when driven by morality and courage. They did not wait for authority or orders. They acted, and their actions changed the universe. One evening, after weeks of searching, Kelara paused on a balcony of a small station orbiting a quiet planet. She stared at the stars, remembering that night on Virelia. She remembered the fire in the cave, the sound of his voice, and the strange sense of safety she had felt. "I must find him," she whispered again, "no matter what it takes." Her guards, loyal but curious, exchanged quiet glances. They had begun to understand why she persisted. The human had become more than a memory. He had become a symbol of hope and courage. Kelara's journey was not without danger. Rebel factions, smugglers, and hostile creatures tested her at every turn. She learned to move with caution, to blend in, and to trust her instincts. And every time she encountered a human helping others, she felt closer to understanding why the one she remembered had acted as he did. At night, she often reflected on what made humans different. Their courage was one thing, but there was more. Their sense of morality, their willingness to risk themselves for others, and their unpredictable cleverness. She realized that the human had not just saved her life physically. He had also saved her from seeing the universe in a narrow, logical way. He had shown her that life, even for a queen, was about choices, courage, and connection. Finally, after months of searching, Kelara received a new clue. A small settlement on a distant moon had been protected recently by a human matching the description she carried in her memory. The settlement's records were clear. He had helped them defend against a pirate raid and had vanished soon after. Kelara's heart raced. She was closer than ever. "He is here," she said to herself. "I will find him." Her team prepared for the journey to the moon. The queen felt a mix of excitement, nervousness, and anticipation. She was about to meet the human again, the one who had changed her understanding of courage and morality, the one who had left a mark on her heart. As the ship prepared to jump through hyperspace, Kelara looked at the stars once more. She whispered a promise to herself and to the human who had unknowingly inspired it. "I will find you, and when I do, I will understand the truth of your courage." The stars stretched before her like a river of light, carrying her toward the one human who had shown her that even the smallest being could make the universe a better place. The galaxy was vast. Stars stretched endlessly in every direction, painting the darkness with light. Planets, moons, and asteroid fields formed a web of complexity that few could navigate with ease. Yet Kelara, the alien queen, moved with purpose aboard her small ship, her eyes fixed on the stars. She had come far from her palace and her advisors, searching for a human whose courage and selflessness had changed her life. Her informants had given her a name, Joran, though humans often traveled without leaving records, and rumors were often the only way to find them. Still, Kelara trusted her instincts. She knew humans well enough to understand that he would leave marks wherever he went. Lives he saved, settlements he aided, and enemies he outsmarted would form a trail, if one knew where to look. The first stop was a crowded spaceport on the edge of the Viridian cluster. Ships of every shape and size buzzed between landing pads, their engines filling the air with a low hum. Merchants hawked goods from distant worlds, and travelers of all species hurried past. Kelara moved through the crowd carefully, cloaked in a disguise that hid her royal features. She carried only a small team of loyal guards, their presence subtle but ready for any danger. In a dimly lit market, she spoke quietly with a merchant who had once traded with Joran. The merchant was cautious, his tentacle-like arms flicking nervously as he leaned closer. "You seek a human?" he asked. I've heard stories.
He helped a mining colony survive a pirate attack.
They say he vanished before anyone could even thank him properly. Kilara nodded. Where did he go after that? The merchant shrugged. Outer Rim, near the Tyros border. Dangerous territory. But he was said to be heading there to help more people. That is all I know. Kilara's heart quickened. The trail was faint but real. She motioned to her guards, and the small team prepared to leave the bustling market. Every step closer made her more aware of how humans operated. They were unpredictable, selfless, and brilliant in ways alien races often did not understand. Joran's actions had not been reckless. They had been calculated, precise, and morally guided. The journey to the Outer Rim was long. Kilara's ship moved through asteroid fields and narrow wormholes, avoiding patrols and hostile forces. She reflected on what she had learned about humans in the past weeks. They were not merely brave or strong. Their intelligence was flexible, their morality flexible, and their courage often came from something deeper than fearlessness. It came from empathy, a drive to help others even at personal risk. Along the way, Kilara encountered settlements that had been touched by humans. In one mining colony, she spoke with workers who described a human who had repaired life support systems after a catastrophic failure, saving hundreds of lives. In another, she learned of Joran helping settlers fight off raiders without killing any of them, outsmarting enemies using traps, clever distractions, and human ingenuity. Everywhere she went, humans seemed to leave a mark. Their actions inspired hope, courage, and change. Kilara realized that Joran was not an exception. He was part of a greater pattern. Humanity, as a species, had the power to influence entire civilizations without needing vast armies or advanced technology. Their strength lay in cleverness, morality, and the courage to act. At night, Kilara often gazed at the stars from her ship's observation deck. She remembered the night he saved her on Virelia, the cave, the fire, and the sense of safety she had felt despite danger all around. That night had been brief, yet it had changed her understanding of life, courage, and connection. She longed to see him again, to understand why humans chose their path so freely. Her search led her to a remote colony near the Tyros border. The settlement was small, built in a crater with domed habitats and energy shields. Rebels had attempted to take it over months ago, but reports mentioned a human appearing suddenly, guiding the inhabitants to defend themselves with minimal resources and no loss of life. Kilara landed her ship discreetly and approached the colony cautiously. The inhabitants recognized her immediately but showed no fear. They spoke respectfully, explaining what had happened when the human appeared. He didn't stay long, said one elder. He helped us repair our defenses, trained us to fight smarter, and then he was gone. But he saved our people. We are still alive because of him. Kilara's eyes narrowed. This was Joran's doing. She could see the same traits she had witnessed on Virelia: cleverness, selflessness, and a willingness to risk himself for others. She felt a surge of admiration and curiosity. That evening, as she prepared to leave, a young scout approached her ship. Your Highness, he said nervously. Someone just arrived on the far side of the crater. Human, traveling alone, he looks like he could be the one. Kilara's heart pounded. Could it really be him? She ordered her guards to prepare, and with careful stealth she moved toward the far side of the crater. There, standing by a small repair station, was a human fitting the description she had carried in her memory. His posture was relaxed but alert, his hands skilled and confident as he worked on machinery. She stopped, watching him silently. Joran was exactly as she remembered, strong, clever, and focused. Yet there was something else, a quiet humility in the way he worked, a careful attention to detail, and a sense of respect for the people he helped. Humans were remarkable, Kilara thought. They did not need titles, wealth, or recognition. They acted because it was right. Before she could make her presence known, a warning alarm rang through the colony. Raiders had returned, seeking revenge. They were armed and numerous, and the settlement's defenses would not hold long. Without hesitation, Joran moved. He organized the colonists, setting traps, reinforcing shields, and leading countermeasures. Kilara watched, amazed. He did not fight recklessly. He calculated, planned, and inspired those around him. The raiders charged, but every attack was met with clever defense and human ingenuity. Within hours, the attackers were forced to retreat. Kilara approached him after the battle. Joran turned, his eyes meeting hers. Recognition flashed in his gaze, and a faint smile appeared. Kilara, he said softly, as if he had expected her eventually. You found me. I have been searching for you, she replied, her voice steady but full of emotion. All these years I could not forget the night you saved me. He nodded. I did what I had to do. It was necessary. And you? Kalara's violet eyes glimmered. I have changed since that night. I see the galaxy differently now. Humans, you are more than I imagined. You act with courage and morality in ways that even my advisors cannot understand. Joran's smile grew faintly. Humans are like that. Some of us anyway. We value life, freedom, and doing what is right. The sun set behind the crater, painting the sky with brilliant hues of green and gold. Kalara realized she had not just found the human again. She had discovered the essence of what made humans remarkable. Their courage, intelligence, and morality were powerful forces, enough to change civilizations and inspire respect across the stars. Will you stay? She asked, hoping but uncertain. Joran shook his head slowly. My path is not yours. I have work to do, people to help, but I will not forget you either, Kalara nodded, understanding. Humans acted for others, not for themselves. Their choices were free yet meaningful. As she prepared to leave, she made a silent promise. One day she would see him again, not as a queen seeking help, but as a friend and equal, someone who had shown her the true strength of humanity. The stars above stretched endlessly, carrying both of them toward futures shaped by courage, morality, and the choices that defined their lives. And Kalara knew that the night she had spent with the human years ago was only the beginning of a story that would continue across the galaxy. The stars stretched like a river of light, and Kalara's ship moved silently through the void. She had followed Joran's trail across countless systems, tracing whispers, rumors, and the lives he had touched. Finally, the path had led her to a remote space station orbiting a dying star, a place few dared to visit. The station was old but sturdy, with massive energy shields flickering under the radiation from the star. Ships came and went, carrying merchants, travelers, and refugees seeking safety in the outer rim. It was here that Kalara had received her final clue. The human she sought had arrived days ago, helping a group of displaced scientists rebuild the station's life support systems. Kalara's heart beat faster as her small team docked quietly. She could feel anticipation mixed with caution. She had imagined this moment countless times over 5 years. Would he recognize her? Would he remember the night they had shared in the cave on Virilia? And would he welcome her now after so much time had passed? The corridor leading from the docking bay was dimly lit. Kalara moved with grace, her team following at a discreet distance. Every step brought her closer to the man who had saved her life and changed her understanding of humans. And then she saw him. Joran stood in the center of the main hub, surrounded by a group of scientists. He was instructing them on repairing a delicate energy matrix, his hands moving with skill and precision. Even from a distance, Kalara recognized him immediately. The same strong posture, the calm focus, the alert eyes that had haunted her memory for years. He looked up suddenly, sensing movement. His eyes met hers and recognition flashed instantly. A faint smile appeared on his face, the same smile she remembered from Virilia. Kalara, he said softly, his voice carrying across the hub. You found me. I did, she replied, moving closer. After all this time, I needed to see you. I had to understand why humans are as remarkable as they are. Joran nodded, his expression calm but thoughtful. "I've been busy," he said. "Helping people, keeping them safe. You know how it is." Kalara studied him. He had changed, yet not changed. His hair was slightly longer, dusted with streaks of gray from exposure to starlight and hardship. His hands bore faint scars from battles and repairs. But his eyes still held the same quiet determination, the same courage that had saved her life. Before they could speak further, a warning alarm sounded throughout the station. The sensors indicated approaching ships, heavily armed, aggressive, and unmistakably hostile. Kalara's guards readied themselves, but Joran stepped forward, scanning the incoming vessels. "Raiders," he said grimly. "They tracked me here, seeking revenge for a settlement I helped months ago. We need to act fast." Kalara felt a surge of admiration. Even after years apart, his first thought was protecting others, not himself. She nodded. "Then we fight together." The station became a flurry of activity. Joran directed the scientists and refugees to secure areas, while Kalara coordinated defenses and shield placements. The raiders' ships approached with speed, firing plasma beams that struck the station's outer hull. Sparks and energy arcs danced across the surface as alarms blared. Joran moved swiftly, combining alien technology with human ingenuity. He activated automated defense turrets, rigged decoy drones, and used the station's layout to funnel the raiders into traps. Kalara watched in awe as he anticipated the enemy's moves, predicting their actions and outmaneuvering them at every turn. "Here," Joran called, pointing to a vulnerable hull section. "Seal that corridor." "They'll try to board there." Kalara acted instantly, directing her guards to follow his plan. Together, human and queen moved seamlessly, their coordination blending experience, courage, and intelligence. The raiders were relentless, but Joran's clever strategies and Kalara's leadership kept the station safe. After hours of tense maneuvering, the raiders were finally forced to retreat. Their ships limped away, damaged and humiliated, unable to break the defenses of a single human and a determined queen. Kalara took a deep breath, finally allowing herself to relax. She walked toward Joran, who had just finished checking a damaged energy panel. He looked up and smiled faintly. "You're incredible," she said quietly. "Even after all this time, you still amaze me." Joran chuckled. "You're too kind, Your Highness. I just do what needs to be done, and you're still leading with wisdom and courage. Not many leaders would have managed this situation so calmly." Kalara felt warmth rise in her chest. "I've learned from you," she admitted softly. "That night on Varelia, you showed me something I had almost forgotten. That life is about choices, courage, and protecting others, not just power or protocol." Joran's gaze softened. "Humans value freedom, and we act on what we believe is right. Sometimes it's risky, sometimes dangerous, but it matters. That night I saved you because it was the right thing to do. Nothing more." Kalara smiled faintly. "Yet it changed everything for me." They stood in silence for a moment, the hum of the station filling the air. 5 years apart, countless light years traveled, and yet the bond formed in a single night remained strong. It was a bond of respect, admiration, and understanding that transcended species and distance. "I wondered if I would ever see you again," Kalara said finally. "I didn't know if humans, or you, would allow it." Joran shook his head. "I never thought about it. My life is simple in its own way. I help, I move on. But now you're here, and I see that sometimes paths cross again for a reason." Kalara nodded. "Perhaps, and now, we can face the galaxy together." The night sky outside the station glowed with the light of distant stars. Kalara and Joran walked together through the central hub, observing the repairs and organizing efforts. The refugees and scientists watched with awe. A human and the alien queen, working side by side, had just defended the station against a powerful fleet. The example they set would be remembered for years. As the station quieted, Kalara finally asked the question that had been in her mind since Varelia. "Why did you leave me that dawn? Why disappear without a word?" Joran paused, considering. "Because humans, we value freedom. I had responsibilities, choices, and a path I could not abandon. I could not be tied down, not even for one night. But I never forgot you either. That night mattered more than you know." Kalara's violet eyes glimmered with emotion. "And now? Joran smiled. "Now we work together. For them, for this station, for the people who need help, and maybe one day we will understand what that night meant for us both." Kalara nodded, feeling a mixture of relief, admiration and anticipation. They had reunited, and though challenges lay ahead, she knew one truth. Humans were remarkable. Not because of strength alone, not because of technology or power, but because of courage, morality, and the choices they made even when the odds were against them. The station hummed quietly as repairs continued. Joran moved among the colonists, sharing advice and encouragement, while Kailara coordinated long-term defenses and planning. Together they had faced danger, solved problems, and inspired hope. And together they would continue, a human and an alien queen, showing the galaxy that courage and intelligence could overcome any threat. The stars stretched endlessly beyond the station windows, a reminder of the vast universe awaiting them, and as Kailara looked at Joran, she realized something she had not expected. Humans could teach even a queen how to believe in courage, hope, and the extraordinary power of one's choices. For the first time in 5 years, Kailara felt certain of one thing. This reunion was only the beginning. The stars stretched endlessly beyond the station's windows, but for Kailara, the galaxy felt smaller now. After the reunion with Joran, her mind had been racing for days. Not only had she found the human who had changed her understanding of courage and morality, but she had also witnessed once again the extraordinary power humans carried, their resourcefulness, their intelligence, and their selfless courage. The station, which had once seemed fragile, now thrived. The repairs were complete, and the colonists went about their daily routines with renewed confidence. Children played near safe zones, scientists resumed experiments, and traders moved between docking bays without fear. The human and the alien queen had transformed this small outpost into a place of hope. Kailara watched Joran from a balcony overlooking the central hub. He was speaking with a group of colonists, pointing at a schematic of a defensive drone he had improvised. The human's calm authority and kindness inspired everyone around him. It was a natural leadership that required no title or crown. Kailara felt a deep admiration. She stepped closer to him. "You've done more than just protect this station," she said quietly. "You've inspired these people and me." Joran looked at her, a faint smile playing on his lips. "I don't do it for thanks. I do it because it's right. That's all humans really ask of themselves." Kailara nodded, a smile of her own forming. "You are remarkable, Joran. I see now why humans are respected, feared, and admired across the stars. Not because of size, strength, or weapons, but because of courage, morality, and the choices you make even when the odds are against you." Joran's eyes softened. "And you see it clearly. That's why you sought me out. You understood something many others never do. Humans act not for glory, but because it matters." Kailara stepped closer. "I want you to stay, not as a visitor, not as a helper, but as someone I can work with, trust, and rely on. I want the galaxy to see the strength of humans and aliens together. What we could accomplish, if we united." Joran paused, thoughtful. "Kailara, my path has always been independent. I travel, I help, and I leave. That's who I am." Kailara tilted her head, her violet eyes steady. "I do not ask you to change who you are. I only ask you to consider the possibilities. You have seen what humans can do. Now imagine what we could do together. combining your skills and insight with my resources and reach. We could protect worlds, save lives, and inspire hope. Jorn considered her words. He looked at the colonists who had come to respect him in days, and at Kalara, a leader who carried wisdom and fairness in every decision. He saw the potential, the chance to make a difference on a larger scale. I will consider it, he said finally. Not because I owe anyone, not because of orders, but because it is the right thing to do. Kalara nodded, satisfied. That is all I ask. The following days were filled with planning. Kalara and Joran walked through the station together, discussing strategies, repairs, and training programs for the colonists. He taught them how to think like humans, to anticipate problems, improvise solutions, and act with courage. She shared her knowledge of diplomacy, governance, and strategy. Together, they created a small but powerful network, capable of defending the station, aiding nearby worlds and inspiring those who had lost hope. At night, when the station was quiet and the stars gleamed like diamonds, Kalara and Joran often stood together on the balcony. You know, Kalara said one evening, 5 years ago I never imagined I would see you again. And now, here we are standing side by side. Joran smiled faintly.
Fate has a strange way of working.
Humans act freely, but sometimes paths converge for a reason. Kalara nodded. That night on Virelia, it was brief, yet it changed me. You showed me courage, kindness, and a strength I had not expected in a human. And you showed me, Joran said, that even someone like you, a queen, could trust, admire, and respect a human without expecting anything in return. They shared a quiet moment of understanding, the connection that had begun years ago now deeper and stronger. They had faced danger, survived impossible odds, and learned from one another. The next morning, Kalara gathered her team. We leave for the Outer Rim, she announced. There are worlds that need help, colonies that are vulnerable. Together, Joran and I will travel and protect them. The colonists watched with awe as their queen and the human prepared for departure. They understood that this was not just a mission of survival, but a mission of hope. Humanity's courage, combined with the resources and wisdom of the alien queen, would set a new standard across the stars. Before leaving the station, Kalara turned to Joran. One day I hope the galaxy will understand what humans are capable of. Not just strength, not just skill, but courage, morality, and determination. Joran nodded. They will. And they will remember that humans, small as we are, can inspire change wherever we go. Their ship departed the station, gliding silently into hyperspace. Stars streaked past as they moved toward new systems, new challenges, and new opportunities. Kalara stood beside Joran on the observation deck, watching the universe unfold before them. I am glad I found you, she said softly. I am glad you found me too, Joran replied, his voice steady. The galaxy was vast and dangers awaited in every corner. Yet Kalara and Joran were no longer separate entities. They were a team, human ingenuity and courage united with alien wisdom and leadership. Together they could face any threat, save countless lives, and show the universe that humans were more than what others expected. As they entered a new star system, Kalara reflected on the journey that had brought her here. From the cave on Virelia, where a human had risked everything for her, to this moment where they would face the galaxy together, it had been a journey of courage, trust, and understanding. And it was only the beginning. Joran placed a hand on the railing beside her. Whatever comes next, he said, we face it together. Kalara smiled. Together, she agreed. The stars stretched endlessly ahead, and the possibilities seemed infinite. The galaxy was vast, yet the courage of one human and the wisdom of one queen had already begun to change it. Kalara knew that as long as humans continued to act with morality, courage, and ingenuity, no challenge would be impossible, no enemy unbeatable. The story of Kalara and Joran, their bond formed in a single night, would ripple across the stars, inspiring countless lives and reminding every being that courage, intelligence, and selflessness could change the course of history. As the ship moved forward, Kalara and Joran stood together, ready to face whatever the galaxy had in store. And for the first time in 5 years, Kalara felt a certainty that she had not known before, that humans, small and mortal, were capable of extraordinary things. And she was proud to stand beside one of them. The future was wide open, the stars shining brightly ahead. Together they would continue to travel, protect, and inspire, proving to the galaxy that courage and morality were forces no one could ignore. And so, a new chapter began, the Queen and the human, united not by obligation, not by power, but by choice, respect, and the extraordinary strength that humans carried in their hearts.